We still have one more thing to do, and it's a little more information that needs to be shared with you. And at this time, we'll ask Alberta to come and give her report from this year's conference. If you notice, she has an extra pep in her step today, and I just found out she has a 9-month-old living with her now. A 9-month-old puppy. What's the puppy's name again? Duke. Duke, and he looks like a Duke. Thank you, Alberta, for...
He's all of 9 pounds. He's a toy poodle. And I apologize for being so late giving this report, but unforeseen things happen, one being having COVID, but here it is anyway. For many, the 2022 session of Holston Annual Conference will be remembered for powerful worship, getting to know a new bishop, and the year people were thrilled to be back at the lake after a 3-year absence. The theme for this year's conference was Pray Together. There was an estimated 1,100 members of the Holston Annual Conference gathered June 5th through the 8th at Lake Junaluska, representing 852 United Methodist churches in East Tennessee, Southwest Virginia, and North Georgia. The total current membership of voting clergy and lay members is 1,631, but overall attendance was down according to the conference staff. Some people chose to just stay home and live stream it rather than be in person. But the attendance swelled to an estimated 1,200 to 1,500, even though the highest number of votes recorded during business sessions was about 710. Presiding was Bishop Deborah Wallace Paget at her first Holston Annual Conference as resident bishop. For the past 10 years, she has also served as resident bishop of the North Alabama Conference. Wallace Paget emphasized discipleship in her opening Sunday night sermon and also in her Monday morning State of the Church address. She also emphasized unity and expressed that she was deeply saddened by the fact that some churches and clergy will be leaving our denomination. And she hopes that we as Methodists will show everyone grace in their decisions and whatever it may be. Though some clergy and churches may withdraw, she said, we hope that the majority of Holston will continue on the journey together. We will bless those who discern to disaffiliate, and we hope and pray they will bless us in return. The General Conference has been postponed and moved to 2024. So until the General Conference meets, the status of disaffiliation and the Methodist Church will just be in limbo until that time. For 2 nights, Holstonians worshiped with Bishop James Swanson. Some of you may remember that he was a bishop in the Holston from, I think, 2004 to 2012. And he preached for 2 nights. Reverend Tom Albin, who is an author and retired dean of the Upper Room Chapel, led Bible studies for 2 mornings in the worship services. An offering of $51,303 was taken for missions in South Sudan. The change for children offering was $25,118, designated for children's ministry locally and overseas. Hands-on mission project kits total $5,111 for missions in Liberia and Zimbabwe. Collected by local churches over recent weeks, all but 2 of 9 districts exceeded their goals in providing food, school, and health supplies, packaged in buckets and backpacks. The Denman Evangelism Awards for 2020, delayed by the pandemic, were presented to the Reverend Barry Kidwell clergy, Whitney Winston Lay, and Sloan Adams Youth. The 2022 awards were presented to the Reverend Larry Trotter clergy and Marva Clark Hickman Lay. There were no 2021 awards, and our own Dennis Ashley has been the recipient of that award. The Appalachian Trail Chaplain, the new chaplain commission in 2022 is Rachel, known as Dragonfly Ahern. She will be the chaplain along the Appalachian Trail for 2022. During the service of ordination and commissioning, 7 clergy were ordained as elders, 3 were commissioned as provisional elders, 2 were commissioned as provisional deacons, 2 were recognized as associates, and 14 were licensed as local pastors. 1 deaconess was commissioned. There were 74 clergy retirees from the classes of 2020, 2021, and 2022. They were recognized with prayers, hymns, a video, and an ice cream social. A memorial service recognized the lives and ministries of 33 clergy members, 7 clergy spouses, and 16 surviving spouses who died between May 21 and April 22. It's a sad day in the Holston always when churches are closed. This year, the annual conference recognized the closing of 10 local churches, including Ducktown in Ducktown, Tennessee, Sinking Springs in Bristol, Tennessee, Shiloh in Sneedville, Tennessee, Laurel in Damascus, Virginia, Esther in Castlewood, Virginia, Speaks Chapel in Rose Hill, Virginia, Exeter in Exeter, Virginia, York's Chapel in Jonesville, Virginia, Chatham Hill in Saltville, Virginia, and Retown in Chuckey, Tennessee. The updated total of Holston Conference local churches is now 842. The Dismantling Racism Task Force reported that 22 clergy and lay members are meeting and planning to help change Holston's conference through resourcing local churches, events, training, storytelling, assessment, and accountability. The annual conference adopted a rule ensuring all conference committees are comprised of at least 20% people of color. The annual conference approved a 2023 budget of $8.89 million. The Council on Finance and Administration reported that 439 churches paid 100% of their tithes in 2021, while 186 churches have not paid any tithes in at least 2 years. Over the year, a study will be conducted of conference staff and facilities to identify ways to adjust to budget shortfalls caused by insufficient tithes. The annual conference adopted the resolution Moratorium on Church Trials in Holston Conference. After a 40-minute discussion with 11 speakers, the vote was 361 in favor to 323 against. The annual conference, in addition to Wallace, Paget, and Swanson, preachers included the Reverend Sarah Varnell, sharing the message for the memorial service, and the Reverend Jeffrey Wright speaking at the 74th service. And that was one powerful sermon, was it not? The music was provided at conference by the Knoxville Opera Gospel Choir, El Ministerio del Santo Praise Team, annual conference choir, which included our own Pastor Tim and Daniel Goodman, the Reverend Willie Kitchens and praise team from Bethlehem, Wally United Methodist Church and Christ United Methodist Church, and Fairview United Methodist Worship Choir and Praise Band. Becky Hall delivered her first conference lay leaders report since stepping into that role last year. Wrap it up. Now, you wanted me to give this report today. Okay, wrapping it up. The Sexual Ethics and Boundaries Committee reported that all clergy will be required to participate in ethics and boundaries training in September and October of 2022. And they have recommended that all local churches plan to set up a security team for safe gatherings. The United Methodist Women reported on the organization's name change to United Women in Faith over the past year. The United Methodist Men in Holston Conference have been inactive in recent years. The conference secretary reported efforts are underway to revive leadership. The annual conference for 2023 is set for June 4th through 7th at Lake Junaluska. Thank you.